Hey everyone, good morning. How are you? Happy Monday. It's the start of the week, and I thought I would come online and do a different stream this time. I don't usually stream on Mondays, but you know what? Let's mix things up. I'm going to start a series of more consistent streams, maybe even daily. I think I'm going to try daily. We'll see how that goes. That's a big commitment on my part. But I always love seeing everybody out there helping each other with data science questions. I love the community that we're building here, so I'm going to try to make that commitment to all of you to stream for the next 100 days. That's going to take us through August and into September and even into October. And I know that in many parts of the world, that's back to school time. So I'm really looking forward to kind of helping people who are, kind of going back into school, or maybe you're finishing your internship and you want to do help with some follow-ups there, or maybe you're starting your new job. A lot of people start jobs in kind of like the later part of the year, the October, November, December type of parts. So I'm happy to, be here and share some ideas and help with all of you. So as usual, I love taking all of your questions, and what I'm really seeing recently is I'm seeing people who are able to help each other in the chat. I love seeing that. You can see the chat over here over my shoulder, and actually I just realized I need to do one more thing to help us enable the Instagram chat. So this should help us. Okay, there we go. There's our Instagram people that are coming up. So I'm seeing YouTube people, I'm seeing Instagram people in the chat, which is wonderful. So always here to take your questions. My intent is to stream for 1 to 2 hours, which means we might lose some of our Instagram people after the first hour, but we'll see how it goes. We'll kind of keep things loose, keep things flexible, just kind of have some fun data science discussion. I'm already seeing some great items in the chat. I like to make my live streams very inclusive. I don't want anybody to feel like they can't participate if they're not some amazing data scientist. Just let us know where you're from. Let us know, kind of where you are in your data science journey. Some people just like to introduce, where they are in the city, state, country. I love hearing where different people are checking them from. So feel free to do that. I'm already seeing some great questions. So since we're doing something different, I don't mind jumping into questions right away. But right now, what's catching my eye is I'm seeing my good friend explore the beauty of nature. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you too, my friend. So Explore the Beauty of Nature was one of the people who attended my introduction to statistical learning class yesterday. Correct me in the chat, but I think you were there for the entire session. We went for 2 hours and 45 minutes yesterday. We almost made it up to 3 hours yesterday. So if you missed that session, two things for you. One, you can see the replay on YouTube. It's available there. It's going to be there forever. So if you want to go back and take notes or whatever, it's on YouTube. And the second thing is I'm doing this for the next 7 Sundays. It's going to take us 8 Sundays total to go through the entire book. So we've already done session 1. So if you can join us, go ahead and join us one of the upcoming Sundays. Would be happy to have you. If you're not able to join on time, hey, that's okay. Come during the second hour. Come during the third hour. We might even have a third hour. Who knows? So the sessions are running a little bit long. So maybe you can't make the start, or maybe you have to leave early. That's okay. Just come for a portion of it. They are running a little bit on the long side. So yeah, explore the beauty. I'm already seeing you down in the chat here. Yes, I was there. Yeah, really great to have you. I think everybody asked some really good questions. I thought we had some great answers too. As Explore the Beauty knows, I like to ask a lot of questions in the sessions. I like to keep things interactive. I kind of use the Socratic method, which relies on questions. And the second thing too, in case you haven't heard, is I'm doing the book completely differently. We are not writing any native code. We are using AI for all the code, because I believe that's the future of data science development. If you're a data scientist, within the next few years, you will not be writing code on your own. You will be supervising ChatGPT or another tool to write the code for you. And that's what we did, and that's what I intend to do for the rest of the classes. So that's my own twist. That's the way I'm honoring the authors of the book, because I want to build upon their work. I don't want to copy or steal their work. I want to build upon their work. So that's what we're doing. We're doing nothing but generative AI tools. So I'm calling the class ISLA, A for AI. So yeah, so Explore the Beauty, really good to see you. I thought we had a good class, a good kickoff yesterday. So hope to see the rest of you there. So yeah, so I'm not seeing too many introductions on the chat. Feel free to introduce your city, state, country. Ubaid Ullah Khan. What is the name of the YouTube channel? Same as Instagram? Yes. You can find it as Data Science with Dennis. Or if you go to my Instagram and you look in the link section, it's one of my links in my link section that'll take you directly to my channel. Click on subscribe there. I post the sessions for the classes ahead of time, like the little placeholder, so you can click to be notified when the class starts. I also do a 10-minute pregame on Instagram to remind you when the class starts. I do that 10 minutes before the class, because that way you guys can go from Instagram to YouTube. I would really like to run the classes on Instagram, but I can't because Instagram cuts streams off after 1 hour. So that really stinks, because I'd like to go longer on Instagram. I love Instagram, but unfortunately, that's one of the limitations of streaming on Instagram. Okay, great. So I'm seeing some introductions. I'm seeing some questions. Yeah, let me go ahead and I'm just going to go down the chat. So I love, hearing from you guys. Any types of data-oriented questions that you have, feel free to let me know. We'll go ahead and pop in the chat, and I'll try to help you. Maybe somebody else in the chat will try to help you. Who knows? So Robin K. Phil, nice to see you, Robin. I don't think I've seen you in my chats before, so welcome to the stream. Hi, Dennis. Could you make a video about data processing and feature engineering? Yeah. We're going to cover some of that in the ISL course, because the ISL book talks a little bit about feature engineering, particularly when it comes to polynomial regression. I'm pretty sure we're going to cover polynomial regression in that book. But obviously that's only one portion of feature engineering. There's a lot of other feature engineering that can be done, right? But if you have more specifics on things that you'd be interested in, especially when you talk about data processing, because data processing can be such a wide field, right? So feel free to add more detail in the chat if you'd like. But data processing can mean a lot of things. So let me know what you kind of have in mind there, okay? Kush2311, excuse me, says, hey Kush, how you doing? Glad to see you. Welcome to the live stream. And by the way, guys, I hope that this is a convenient time for your time zone. If it's not, please feel free to let me know. I'm going to be experimenting with some evening streams, and that's evening for me, which I believe would be a little bit more convenient for those of you in Asia. I know that I have a lot of followers in Asia, but they're not always able to participate at this hour at my mornings, because that's pretty close to their midnight in most parts of Asia. So if you have other suggestions for other times, please let me know. I'm willing to experiment, because I am going to be streaming for the next 100 days. So, I'm willing to kind of play around with the times, maybe alternate times one day or the other. But I am going to try to be friendly for global time zones. Sarthak Singh says, hi Dennis, I am currently working as a data analyst and want to transition myself into data science. Great. Currently working on my Python. I have good understanding of SQL. Cool. Can you guide me? Sure. So this question that I get is very common. There's a lot of people who want to make that transition, and it's very possible. I have helped data analysts that work for me to make this transition. I also get this question a lot from people who maybe started in software engineering, or they started just like a business analyst, like a plain vanilla business analyst that wants to make the move. So two things I'll tell you. One is I have a guide on YouTube. It's called the Data Science Roadmap for Students. And it basically talks about how I made the transition, and I kind of update it for 2024, because I made that transition a long time ago. I've been in data science a long time. But I kind of update what I would do in 2024. And I try to approach it from a kind of like a generic perspective, because I know that not everybody has access to a data science program. Not every university offers it. So you might be at a school or even an entire country that doesn't have a data science program available. I recognize that. So I try to give you some resources on how to learn on your own. So that's the first thing I would do. I would point you to that resource. And then the second thing I would say is that you're on the right track as far as studying Python. Because generally speaking, and this is important, guys, generally speaking, the difference between a data analyst and a data scientist in most organizations is going to be the modeling, right? That's kind of like what separates those two roles. So you're going to have to display, when you're in that data analyst role, you're going to have to display that you're also capable of modeling, that you have the skills to write that code and that understanding of how to go about developing a model in the first place, right? So that's also kind of what we covered yesterday in the ISLA course, where, we covered linear regression. And that's one of the basics of how to get into modeling. Linear regression for 99% of data scientists out there is kind of like your first model, right? So that's really kind of where I would point you, Sarthak, where you want to make sure that you're also displaying some of those modeling skills, because that's really kind of like what the managers will think about you, right? They'll say, oh yeah, he might be good with data, but he doesn't know modeling, right? So that's kind of what I would want to build on. So those are two ideas for you. Again, it's on my YouTube. It's called the Data Science Roadmap for Students. It's one of my first videos that I ever made because I get a lot of questions from students. So I try to send everybody to that resource because I still need to keep my time free for corporate clients. But that's what I would recommend for you. So I hope that helps. Y. Alisher says hi, hello, nice to see you. I don't think I've seen you in my chat, so welcome. Seed Hamed Javed says hello. Hey, how you doing? I hope I pronounced that right. If I don't pronounce your names right, guys, I'm so sorry. I hate mispronouncing people's names, but I do my best. I also have a lot of things happening on my screens here in my little setup here, so I try to do my best to read the right names and all that. Nikhil Rana says, I've been working in Amazon customer service since 2018, and I want to be a data analyst. Okay. There's no follow-up there. Okay, Nikhil says, I'm from India. Okay, so are you working in customer service from India? And you've been there since 2018? That's a long time, my friend. So good for you. I really can't speak intelligently on the inner workings of a place like Amazon. Are you being presented with some opportunities to move up, or is that hard, or are you kind of looking for additional skills? Let me know kind of what you have in mind there, Nikhil. Give me a little bit more background there, okay? Looks like I just lost my mouse. Give me a second here, guys. My trackpad seems to have stopped responding. Okay, there we go. Srinad AJ777 says, hi sir, I am doing masters in IT. I want to crack data science interview. I never coded in my life, so where should I start from? Okay. This is another common question I get. So some of you who have attended my streams or seen some other content has heard this from me before. So Srinad, I'm going to only give you limited help here because I'm not a fan of people who try to crack the interview or hack the questions on the data scientist tests or things like that. The easiest way to pass the interview and to get a data science job is to be a data scientist. Your goal should be to learn data science, not just land a job, right? You're not trying to crack the interview. You're trying to be in the profession of being a data scientist. Because to me, it's a very serious profession. I say it's like being a doctor or a lawyer. It takes academic study. It takes on-the-job training. You're going to have to learn from your superiors, from your mentors. That's kind of the reason why I do this content, because I've had a long career. I'm in the later stages of my career, as I like to say. So, I do this content, as an attempt to kind of, reach my hand back and help somebody who really wants to move into the profession, right? Not just crack the interview. So I want to make sure that you're focused on becoming a data scientist rather than just, well, how can I hack the interview, right? So please see the materials that I mentioned, the Data Science Roadmap for Students. The very first thing I recommend in that roadmap is to read the book Mastery by Robert Greene. It's a book that was very influential to me. It helps you understand what mastery or what your life's passion is, and it encourages you to pursue that passion. So I'd like for you to take that step, because maybe data science is your passion, maybe it's not. Either way, it's okay. But you should really be trying to follow your passion, not just crack interviews, right? Because otherwise, you're not going to be happy. You're just going to be looking to crack another interview a couple years from now, right? You're going to be trying to crack, some other job, or you're gonna, best case scenario, you end up frustrated and burned out, and you're not even 40 years old, right? So let's make sure, that we're following data science for the right reasons, and, trying to become a professional in the field, not just, I want to go into data science because I hear there's a lot of remote jobs. Well, that's not really a great reason, right? So Srinad also shares Gokul also shared that he's from India. Nice to meet you. Well, nice to meet you too, Srinad. Vikash011, hi, I'm from India. What part of India? People just tell me they're from India, but I've had staff there. I've had many employees in India, particularly in Bangalore, and I'm smart enough to know that India is a very large and diverse and beautiful country. So you can't just tell me India. You got to tell me what part of India, okay? Juan P. Soti says, hi, I'm from Montevideo, Uruguay. I'm a machine learning engineer. Well, welcome. I don't think we've had anybody from Uruguay. You might be our first one. My analytics don't really show a lot of people from South America. So happy to see you here. Love to see more participation with South America. I've never made it to Uruguay. I've only been to Colombia in South America. But glad to see that you're here. And if you're already a machine learning engineer, maybe you're willing to jump in on help some of the questions. Feel free to help each other. But so good to see you here, Juan, and welcome. Is it Syed? Syed Hamad Javed? Hello, sir. I'm from Haripur, Pakistan, and currently doing a BS in data science. Wonderful. I love hearing that. Welcome. We've had a couple of viewers from Pakistan before, especially on my weekend streams. But yeah, welcome. Let us know where you're studying. I assume you're studying at a local university, or maybe you're doing like a remote program. Let me know more about that. I'm always interested in hearing about the degrees, particularly around the undergraduate degrees, right? Because it seems, at least in the U.S., it seems like most universities were able to offer a master's level degree before they did the bachelor's in data science. So love to hear more about that, okay? So Srinad AJ777, I don't know anything about coding. Can I still attend class? What are prerequisites for class? If you're referring to the Sunday class, yes, I think you can still attend, because my focus again is on using AI tools, right? We're not going to write any code ourselves, at least not native code. We're going to have ChatGPT write the code for us, and then we're going to use some of our own skills for the editing and kind of like the organization of it all. But if you're interested, you should attend. The hard part for somebody who's brand new to coding is that it's going to be hard for you to understand how to set up like your local Python environments and how to actually execute the code, and kind of just like working around that, how all the files work and libraries and environments. So that might be a challenge. That's something that I might do some content on later in the future, kind of showing you how to set up an environment. One of the goals that I have for the class also is to show what a professional development environment actually looks like. And hint, hint, it does not, I repeat, not involve Jupyter notebooks, right? Jupyter notebooks are fun, but they're not really for professional level deployment. So that's going to be hard for you to understand, Srinad, but you're welcome to attend, follow along as much as you can. People in the chats are helping each other in the class, so maybe somebody else will help you too. But yeah, you're welcome to come, or you know what? Go to my YouTube and check out the replay from yesterday, and that'll give you an idea of the speed that we're going at and what that looks like, okay? Vikash011 says, what are the prerequisites? I don't have any prerequisites to attend, Vikash. Come and follow along as best you can. And if some things don't make sense, I do encourage people to stop me. But yeah, just feel free to attend. And like I said, you can go check out the the replay and see if it's something you like. Okay, great question here. So Syed Hamad says, I have one question, sir. You said we don't have to code in data science, but don't you think it'll make us lazy and also affects logic building? No, I don't. And you're kind of answering the second question. You're kind of answering the first question by providing the second question. Because what I emphasize is that we're not going to write our own code, but you have to be smart enough to edit the code, right? Because ChatGPT still makes mistakes. In fact, it made a mistake yesterday in one of our second models that we did in the class. It made actually a very simple mistake, a very surprising mistake. So you're still going to have enough knowledge to be like a level 2 data scientist to be able to recognize when things look right and when they don't, right? But in addition to that, you're also going to have to become more of a data science architect, because you can't just tell ChatGPT, write me a model. You got to give it direction, right? So you're still going to have to be able to, one, take in the business requirements, know the model that you're building. And then you're going to have to apply your own knowledge to say, okay, yeah, I think I need this type of model here, and I want to run this experiments on this grid search, and then I want to go ahead and validate my model over here, and then I need a fourth class to do my prediction runtimes. Like, you're still going to have to architect it out and know, like, okay, I need these 3 different objects, and they're going to talk to each other like this, and like that's still a lot of work. It's like I said, it's architecture design work, right? So it's not going to actually make you lazy. It's actually the opposite. What's going to happen is the bar for entry-level positions is going to be higher, right? Entry level isn't going to be just having a degree. Entry level is going to be a degree plus some coding skills, plus some understanding of software architecture, plus some understanding of data science architecture. Because that's what you're going to need to be able to properly prompt and guide ChatGPT, right? So if anything, it's going to raise the bar. That's why I'm encouraging, via this class now, because we have to get ready, right? We as data scientists kind of have to roll with the punches and get ready for that. So the time to start doing that is now. We got to build up our prompt skills. We got to build up our knowledge of these AI tools, right? Like yesterday, like I said, we saw a very simple mistake that ChatGPT made. So kind of knowing how the algorithms work and like the weaknesses that they have, you got to start building those skills now. So I disagree. It's not going to make us lazy or any less effective with logic. If anything, it kind of puts you a little bit on a more heightened need for that. So love the question, and I hope that answers it. But yeah, I mean, I think it's the exact opposite, and that's why I'm encouraging people to prepare now. The time to prepare is right now. Hey, Anjan Bro says, hello, I'm Anjani from India, currently living in Durham, UK. Well, welcome. Nice to see you. We get a lot of people from the UK. Now, Durham, is that a coastal city? I think that's a coastal city, isn't it? Let me know in the chats, but good to see you. Always good to see people from Western Europe. Western Europe is my 3rd largest demographic in my analytics. Adam joining us in from YouTube. I always point this out, but I love that the chat tells us where people are joining in from. I spent an entire afternoon getting this chat working so that we could all see each other on the screen. I can't get over that I got that working. I'm so proud of that. Do you have any ideas, experiences on how to apply data science in the finance industry, or if you have any good resources on this field? Yeah. So Adam, I'm always hesitant to give project ideas, because coming up with your own project ideas is one of the big creativity requirements of data scientists. And I hate to remove that opportunity from you, because if you're looking at this is a great opportunity for you to display your creativity and come up with your own projects. So I don't want to take that opportunity away from you. But yes, there's plenty of work in the finance industry. That's part of my background. I've worked in big banking for many years. So yeah, lots of ideas there. The other part that kind of catches my attention in this is when it comes to the finance industry, be prepared to work in non-cloud environments, all right? And we've talked about this in some of my other chats. There are companies and industries out there that do not use the cloud. Okay, guys, be aware of that, because I get a lot of questions on oh, should I do the AWS certification? Should I do the Azure certification? How about none? How about neither? How about learning more Linux? That's going to be important as you progress in your career, right? You're going to be working for companies that already have their data centers. You know, the cloud is new, but having your own data center is not. You could be applying at a company who's had their own data centers for, I mean, heck, 30 years now, right? And, you know, they have 10 data centers across the world. They don't care if you know cloud. They want to know if you can work in their data centers, right? And that usually means Linux. That usually means distributed environments, so on and so forth, right? So make sure that if you're looking at finance, like you know you want to go into finance or banking, some medical companies, you know, things like that, lots of industries, they're not all going to use cloud. So that's what I would advise you, Adam. Make sure that you're also balancing out your skills. And you know how to work with a terminal, you know how to work, you know, with Linux, with servers in general, and that's part of what I'm showing in my class on Sundays. I'm working from a terminal. I'm working in OS X, which is based on Linux. I do some of my own personal development with DigitalOcean instances of Linux. You know, I think DigitalOcean, I happen to choose CentOS, but, you know, it doesn't matter what you choose. Just be prepared to work from a command line interface, especially in finance. Adeshiam says hello. Hello, nice to see you. Let us know where you're from. Palki Gairola says, what is the most challenging problem in data science? Okay, you know what? That's a great question for the chat. Let's keep this chat interactive. So for those of you either on Instagram or YouTube, let me know, or let us all know. Give me your most challenging problem in data science. Okay, guys. So I'm throwing that out to the chat. Everybody in the chat can contribute an answer. You know, maybe give a short answer, right? You probably don't want to go too long of an answer. Give me your elevator pitch for what is the most challenging problem in data science. I have a couple of ideas, but I don't want to say them because I don't want to bias the chat, right? A good data scientist is always aware of their biases, right? And I don't want to bias my chat. So let me know. We'll see if people contribute, and then I'll give my answer. But it's a good question. Thanks for that question, Palki. Palki? Yeah. Thanks for the question. But yeah, so chat, I'm opening that up to you guys. Let me know what you think is the most challenging problem in data science. Niall Barnes says hi. Well, hello, Niall. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. And by the way, guys, if you're joining us late, feel free to introduce yourself. You know, you don't have to ask some amazing question. You can just let us know what city, state, province, country you're from. Always like hearing from you. So just let us know where you're from. Mr. Tix says, hello, sir. My name is Abba. Nice to meet you, Abba. How much of Python do I need to know to get a role as a data analyst or data scientist? For instance, do I need to know advanced OOP? Nice. Great question, Mr. Tix. For a data analyst or a data scientist, you're probably going to have very different requirements on Python. So we'll leave the data scientist for another day because I think that's probably more advanced Python. For data analysts, you probably can get away with maybe like a year's worth of training of Python. Are you going to have to know advanced OOP? No, you don't need to know it, but it helps. Personally, I'm a big fan of object-oriented programming in Python. For those of you who don't know, OOP is object-oriented programming. I'm a big fan of it in Python. I know that's not a popular opinion. I know that most people see Python as a scripting language. I know that a lot of you also use notebooks. You're not using, actual code. So ABBA, I don't think it's an absolute requirement, but it helps. Like, it's not going to hurt you if you bring that up in your job or when you're searching for a job. If you list it as one of your skills on your resume. So don't let that hold you back from applying to data analyst roles. But as you mature in your career and as you do more data science work, you are definitely going to find yourself, one, you're going to be writing a lot less scripts and more object-oriented. You're not going to be using notebooks at all, and you're going to be doing more of a distributed environment or enterprise level deployment, and that usually has to involve object-oriented programming at some point. So don't let it hold you back from starting, but if you're studying it now, or that's something you want to keep on developing, I think you're on the right track with that. Okay? Lots of great questions, guys. Really loving this participation. Lots of people, too. Gabemi OJ says, I'm a new grad DS working at cybersecurity startup. Most DS don't have domain knowledge and startup keeps transitioning. I love the initial use case, but team keeps changing. What do I do? You say it like it's a bad thing. I love it. You're in a great spot. What's the problem, my friend? I'm failing to see the question in your statement, sir. Look, you don't go to work for a startup unless you're ready for what you just described. What you just described is why you go do work for a startup. Like, you're mentioning the benefits, quite frankly, of being at a startup. So the analogy that I like to use, right, and maybe you guys have heard this one before, is about ships in the ocean, right? If you're working at an IBM is a massive ship that needs miles and miles of ocean to turn, right? You are not going to turn IBM in a quick way. The opposite of that is a startup, and that's being in a little speedboat, a little, 20-foot speedboat that can turn at any time, right? So that pivoting, that transitioning you're talking about is what makes startups exciting to work for, right? Because if you work at a company like IBM, it's going to take you years and years and years to deploy a project, to work on something cool, to see a change in policy, to see a change in approach, right? IBM does not change quickly, right? And I'm not picking on IBM, that applies to a lot of companies, right? So I think that, what I would tell you is enjoy the ride, because I've done that. I've worked for startups. I haven't worked for one in a while. It's been a while, but the last time I did, it was for a crypto startup. And it was just your classic startup culture. Like, we all sat around this huge scrum table. Do you guys, some of you maybe are too young or to remember this, but do you guys know what a scrum table is? Tell me in the chat if you guys know what a traditional scrum table is. But we would all sit around a scrum table. You show up at whatever hours you want. You could show up and work at 2 a.m. if you wanted. I'm a morning person, so I would show up and work at 5 a.m., just it's a spontaneous environment. You're holding meetings spontaneously. You're shouting across the desk. You're sharing code back and forth. I remember that I was the front end guy and I was assigned to work with the back end guy. So we would sit there and we would throw code back and forth at each other. In the middle of the day. And just, it was fun. Like I said, you're to me, you're describing a good problem to have. So if that doesn't fit your personality, or maybe, you would like a little bit more stability, then maybe you want to look into a larger company. But to me personally, Gabemi, I would encourage you to just enjoy the ride. You're not going to get that at every place you work with in your career, right? Some companies are extremely slow to move. But yeah, what you're describing is standard startup stuff. Totally average for startups, what you're describing. So, just enjoy the ride, learn as much as you can. People who work at startups are usually pretty smart people. Some of the smartest people I've ever met are doing startups. But again, if that doesn't fit your personality, then that's okay. But that's what I would advise you, okay? But thanks for the question. Great question. Really good questions today, guys. I should stream on Mondays more often. So Palki says, is data science job shifting more towards data analytics? I have seen OpenAI and meta positions like this, data science analytics. Maybe. It's a good question. So, two things come to mind. One, places like OpenAI, Anthropic, they probably have fewer data scientists than you think they do. My guess is that their biggest HR needs are going to be on analytics, and I'm going to come back to that, and human validation. they must have big analytics teams and big human validation teams. They couldn't do what they're doing without both of those teams. And the data science team, I'm guessing, is actually probably one of their smaller teams, right? Like comparatively speaking, right? And as far as analytics, and when you're talking about positions like this, data scientist / analytics, be careful, because a lot of those positions are really kind of just like data scraping in disguise. I loved a position I saw a couple of months back, actually just a couple of weeks back. They called it data acquisition specialist. Okay, but it's scraping, right? They want somebody who come in, write Python to scrape websites, but they can't say that. It's going to be a data acquisition specialist, right? So I would be careful with positions like this, especially like you're saying it's like a meta position. That's probably just kind of how they're hiding it, because again, none of these companies advertise that they do that, right? It's kind of like the open secret in all of generative AI, right? Because I'm not picking an open AI; all the companies do it, right? But that's what I would advise, just to be careful around this, where they're going to call it a bunch of different things, but they just need Python people to scrape websites and scrape documents, right? That's probably what you're running into. Oh gosh, this name is coming up so small. I'm sorry, I can't read the name. It's the type on it is so small. But they write Mastery by Robert Greene for conviction on your passion. Fellow Rob Greene fan here. Wonderful, good to see that. Yeah, it's a great book, and Robert Greene in general writes really good books. If you want to see some of his other stuff. But Mastery really had a big influence on my life. Really the book really kind of causes you to reflect on what you really want to do. And I was a software engineer for a very long time, and software engineering pays good money, it paid a lot of bills for me, but I wasn't passionate about it. I just wasn't. So this book helped me understand that, and that's why I've been pursuing data science. And yeah, it is a lot about conviction on your passion. But if you follow that conviction, you follow that passion, that will bring you everything else you want, right? Money and the jobs and the progression in your career. It will bring you everything you want. And it certainly has for me. And, I'm not trying to brag here, but I like to think that's one of the reasons why people are consuming my content and why I have fun doing this with you guys, because I think that passion is coming across in what I'm doing here and building up my social media presence. Because I've only been at this a few weeks, guys. I've only been at this like coming up on 3 months now. I started May 1st. But I think the reason why, people come to my accounts and come to my live streams is because I'm a passionate person about this, and that comes across in my streams, in the content. So when you follow your passions, really nothing but good is going to come of it. It's brought a lot of good to my life. So that's why I really encourage people to kind of take the time to read that book, and just follow what you really want to do. Maybe it is data science, maybe it is, maybe it's not. It's okay either way. Maybe your passion is to open a restaurant or do something completely away from technology, right? That's totally okay. But that's what you should be following. So thanks for the comment. Really glad to see other Robert Greene fans in here. Melly Durr, my good friend Melly Durr, how are you? Melly Durr says hello, everyone. So Melly Durr is another one of our veterans from yesterday's class. Melly, I think you were there for the entire class also, so really glad to see you here this morning. Thanks so much for hanging out with me yesterday. Really glad to see you there, and I think you and everybody else in the class was giving some really good responses, really great participation. So thank you so much for coming. Really grateful that you were able to attend, and hopefully you'll be able to attend coming Sundays. And again, guys, if you weren't able to attend, go to YouTube. The replay is up there. I have a link on my Instagram that will take you directly to the replay. But, we had great people like Melly Durr there yesterday. Really great participation. So thank you so much for being here again, Melly. Good to see you. Thesis and Tunes by Sophie. Wow, I love that name. What a great name. So Thesis and Tunes by Sophie is checking in from the UK. I again, with the UK, I always think of that Ted Lasso part when he's coaching the Tottenham Hotspurs, and they're teaching him about the country, and he just looks up and says, "How many countries are in this country?" Because there's so many in the UK. But good to see you here. Okay, I'm going to skip that message. Looks like we got a spam message on Twitch. I would love to grow my Twitch presence more. Nobody really seems to join on Twitch except for the spammers, so we're going to skip that next message. I started, so hey, Anjan Bro writes, I started studying statistics and machine learning, and I don't know why I'm finding the statistics part boring. How should I make this fun? I really want to learn it, but I find it boring. What part are you finding boring? Statistics is a broad field. So let us know which statistics course you're taking and what part of it you're finding boring. Because depending on what you tell me, then data science may not be for you. Because a lot of data science is rooted in statistics. For me personally, when I studied, my master's, when I did my master's studies, it was a long time ago. So data science wasn't even an option. I actually, my master's studies is in applied statistics. So, and by the way, that served me very well. Applied statistics is a great basis for data science. So let me know what the pain points are there. Okay. And by the way, if you guys are joining us late, feel free to introduce yourself. You don't have to ask some amazing question. I take questions from everybody. So let me know, kind of just where you're from, what city, country. I just kind of like to interact with you guys, keep things fun. I'm streaming every day now. So, just keep things loose. If you have to leave the stream early, that's okay. Come back tomorrow. But yeah, just introduce yourself. And I like to keep these streams inclusive. So Melly Durr says, is the live of yesterday going to be saved? Yes, absolutely, Melly. I save all my lives on YouTube. So if you go to my YouTube channel, Data Science with Dennis, you're gonna look in the live archives, and it's gonna be there. I also post a link on my Instagram, and I save it as a story in the socials link. YouTube videos. And my highlights, I have a highlight named YouTube videos. You're gonna find the link there also. But yeah, those stay on YouTube, and they'll be there forever. So if you want to come back, take some notes or whatever, or maybe you miss a Sunday, that's okay. It'll be up on YouTube. So thank you so much for watching it on there. Oh wow, jeez, what a question. Aways5, welcome. I don't think you've introduced yourself. Let us know where you're from. Aways5 asks, is having deep knowledge of iterators and generators necessary for a beginner ML engineer? I just graduated with a bachelor's in data science. Whoa, you are asking a massive question, my friend. Let's slow down. We just got our degree. Let's take it easy, man. I don't know. I don't think that's necessary for you to, come into the field. If you have a degree, your biggest challenge is to understand what you learned in academics and how you're going to take that forward. Iterators and generators, you might not even touch that depending on what company you end up working for, right? So let's put that to the side. Your main goal should be to learn, should be to take in everything and just kind of, learn on the job, be coachable, be a sponge to take in as much information as you can, learn your team's current projects, learn how they work, things along those lines. So guys, I'm going to share something very special with you. I haven't made a formal announcement on this yet, but this question is perfect for this segue. So if you go to my Instagram and you look at my links, I just added a link this morning because I'm doing kind of a soft rollout. But your question dovetails into my latest project. I published a book. It just became available on Amazon yesterday. But it's called Your First Year in Data Science. And it hits exactly this question a ways, where I try to fill that gap between I just finished my degree, I'm going into my first job, what do I need to know? This book here, Your First Year in Data Science, I just finished writing this and I published it on Amazon. I'm doing this all myself. I attempts to answer exactly what you're talking about. So for example, Aways, one of the things I talk about in my book, it's going to be very rare when you guys go into a job and there's a brand new project waiting for you. You're probably going to step into a project that's already in flight, or you're going to be assigned to maintain a particular algorithm, because algorithms need maintenance too, right? So this book talks about how to deal and how to work with those type of team dynamics, right? Because that's what I would classify as a team dynamic. Because you're going to have to learn how to work with a data science team, right? It's no longer solo work, solo academic work. So I haven't made a formal announcement on this yet. I'll be producing a video for that. But if you want to check it out, it's on Amazon. First year in data science. I've done a paperback. I've done the audiobook, and I also did an ebook. It's available on Kindle. The Kindle is very affordable because I know that pricing can be different globally, but I made the ebook very affordable for I think most regions in the world. I've invested a lot into making sure that I'm putting out a quality product. If you can see here, I actually have other copies. These are known as author proofs that you can do with Amazon, where they kind of show you how the book is coming along. And I've gone through 5 different iterations of these proofs, because if it's going to have my name on it, I want it to be a quality product, you know? So I've tried different types of paper, different types of printing, different types of covers. You know, you can see this is a matte cover versus a glossy cover. So I've tried to put out a quality product. So if you want to, you know, kind of learn more about that, about making that transition from academic into the real world, you know, please check out my book. But like, I'm giving you guys a special sneak peek. You know, I haven't done a formal launch on it yet, kind of a soft launch still. But thanks for the question, Aways. I hope that helps you. Giant Colup Car says, could I ask you to review my resume? I'm a college student who's trying to many intern roles but not getting it. Giant, I really don't do resume reviews. That's not really a service that I offer, but I'm happy to provide everyone with meta guidance that I would do. So a couple of things. One, never have a 2-page resume. I've never read a second page of a resume in my life. And I've read thousands of resumes, guys. I've never read a second page in my life. Second thing is give me your contact information at the top, and your very next section should be a list of your skills. Make it 3 columns, right? And just give me your skills in each of the 3 columns, and make it short. Python, 4 years, HTML, 2 years, JavaScript, 1 year, Java, 0 years, because nobody should learn Java. SQL, 5 years, whatever, right? Just give it to me right there. That should be the next section. After that, give me your project experience, not professional experience. Don't tell me the jobs. Give me the projects that you've actually worked on and delivered. You know, what was the project? What technology did you use? So on and so forth, right? And then give me your professional experience in your schools, and at the very bottom, your certifications or languages or things like that, right? But, you know, let me know what your technology capabilities are from the very beginning. Because most hiring managers are going to make an interview decision based on that right away, right? So that's the type of guidance I give. I simply don't have the time to do resume reviews. You know, it's just I just don't have the time for it. So I apologize for that. But that's what I would tell you, Diane. If you do that, I guarantee you that you're going to see a difference in your conversion rates to at least start getting some callbacks. Okay. Mr. Arshad, joining us from YouTube, says, this is great work, sir. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. You know, I try my best. And, you know, like I said, I'm very passionate about this stuff. So a lot of this stuff doesn't really feel like work for me because I'm just having fun, right? And, you know, as you can see from my streams, I don't use any notes or I'm not looking things up. I'm just doing this top of mind, right? Because I'm just sharing my experience and what my reality has been with all of you. So thank you so much for saying that. I appreciate that feedback. You know, it keeps me going and encourages me. So thank you so much for that. Melly Durr says, I want to start learning ML. Where should I start, please? Well, Melly, you're already starting. You were a great student yesterday. Just keep on coming back to the ISLA classes. Because to me, that book, and by the way, guys, when I say ISLA, I'm talking about the Introduction to Statistical Learning book. That book is the start of professional data science. So keep on coming back. You know, it's going to give you a really good foundation for you to know what you're doing in data science in general. And then you can start getting deeper into, okay, well, I got this foundation. What are neural networks? Let me go investigate neural networks. Let me go learn about, generative AI, right? So you got to build a foundation. So you're on the right track already, but make sure you build that foundation and keep on coming back, okay? But you're doing great. You gave some great answers in the class yesterday. So keep going, Melly. You're doing just fine. Um, Thesis and Tunes says migrations perhaps. I'm sorry. I think I missed part of the conversation. Maybe your message got cut off. Let me know, Sophie. Maybe I missed part of your message. Explore the beauty of nature, the fast pace at which technologies improve. I think I might have missed something there too. What were you referring to there, my friend? Let me know. Syed says, currently I'm in the last year of my degree. I want to do FYP on predictive maintenance, on industrial equipment. Yeah, great, big field. But I'm struggling with data sets, how to solve that problem. You don't have to use that data set. There's many ways to go about it, right? Remember, guys, with data science, it's not so much about the individual data or the domain knowledge. It's about the process, right? It's about understanding the process to create the algorithm, right? The methodology that you use. So I wouldn't get too caught up in saying, well, I got to go to a maintenance company or a manufacturing company or a mining company and get their data. It's more about the process. So, for example, a lot of predictive maintenance is also time series based, right? So I wouldn't want to become a maintenance or a industrial expert. I want to become a time series expert, right? Because then if I know time series, then I can apply it to any number of industries. It just so happens that you're going to apply it to predictive maintenance, which is a huge industry, by the way. I'm glad you're exploring that. You're on the right track. But don't feel like, well, I can't continue unless I have that specific domain data. No, you just need time series data. You just need to know time series models really, really well, right? So the aim for you, Syed, should be to become a time series expert, not a maintenance expert. Okay? So I hope that helps. Yeah, so you said the follow-up, but yeah, but data set should be the least of your worries. Just use a synthetic time series data. You can have ChatGPT do that for you. We did that yesterday in the class. We did the entire class yesterday with synthetic data sets, right? So there's no reason why you couldn't do that. Go to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to produce you a synthetic time series data set. That would be just fine, okay? Adam says, are technologies like Docker, Apache, Airflow a must for data scientists at the professional level? Are they a must? No. Do they help? Yes. In most scenarios, they are going to help you, but I don't see them as a must. Yeah, so that's what I would recommend to you. That you do want to kind of know what they are, but I wouldn't say that they're a must. What's more important is kind of understanding why you would want to use Docker and understanding environments in Python and, kind of maybe in Linux in general. But I wouldn't say that they're a must. Okay? And Apache Airflow. Somebody remind me that Apache Airflow, that's their scheduling tool, right? Like their cron jobs tool, I think. Somebody can correct me in the chat. But I think that's what Airflow is, right? For scheduling of jobs and tasks. But yeah, those are not critical requirements for breaking into the industry. Melly says, do you have any book recommendations to practice Python? Yes, I actually have a short on this. Python for Data Analysis by Wes McKinney. All right, so I'm going to give that to you guys again. Python for Data Analysis by Wes McKinney. Why that particular book? Because if you recognize the name Wes McKinney is the inventor of pandas. And if you've done work in Python, you've probably done work in pandas. So I always believe go straight to the source, right? The source is the best person for information. And if that's his book, then I want to be reading his book. So Python for Data Analysis by Wes McKinney is what you want to be reading. Okay, Melly? I am a student of BSc AI. I'm assuming that means bachelor's in AI. How do you see the future will treat the people like me who study this, keeping in mind the new technology like GPT? You're going to have to just adapt to the technology and start using GPT yourself, right? We had some discussion earlier on this. the GPT tools are going to be a part of your toolbox. So that's going to require you to kind of be one level up, stay one step ahead, and think like an architect, think like a developer, think like an advanced developer, right? Because one, you're going to have to tell GPT what to create, right? GPT still needs guidance. And two, it's going to make mistakes. So you're still going to have to be an editor. You know, like I said, we had a whole class yesterday. I'm introducing the ISL book as an AI exercise. And the AI made a mistake during our class yesterday. In fact, it made a very simple mistake, an extremely simple mistake. So you are still going to have to, apply your own critical thinking and be able to fix those things, right? So I would encourage you to, keep going, right? AI is not going to replace you. You're just going to be using it in a different way, all right? Amin Cow 99 says, this is Mohammed from DTX. What's DTX? Is that Dallas? Or it could be other parts of the world, but I know that as Dallas. Should I learn ETL for DS or DE? Sure, yeah. ETL skills are very important, especially for data engineering. You're going to want to make sure that you understand how to do ETL on a meta level, because there's a lot of different ways that you're going to be asked to implement that in the real world, right? People are going to be working with different database packages, different data sources to begin with. So you're going to want to build that flexibility into your learning. All right? That's what I would recommend for somebody who's looking for ETL skills. Melly Durr says, in the future, I want to mix data science with neurology, EEG. Do you think that it's worth it? Yeah, sure. Why wouldn't it be worth it? What causes you to have doubts about that? Anything related to bioinformatics and data science, I think has a very bright future ahead. So what am I not seeing there? What is your hesitation for that, Melly? But I think you're on the right track with that. So let me know if I'm missing something, or maybe you're privy to other information that causes you to have hesitation there. But I think that's just fine. Mr. Tick says, thank you for the input, sir. I'm from Gombe State, Nigeria. Great. I get a lot of viewers from Africa, so nice to see you here. It's great being here. Look forward to upscaling. Oh, well, thank you so much. I hope I'm helping people. I mean, I'm just sitting here alone talking into my iPhone. So does it help people? I hope so. But it's hard for me to always get a gauge of that because I'm just sitting here in front of an iPhone. That's all I'm doing. I'm just some guy sharing my experience. That's all I am. I am a fresher. What should we learn to get into data science? Good question. On my YouTube, I have my data science roadmap for students. So feel free to check that out. It's one of the very first videos I made. So feel free to check that out, and I think you'll get some answers there. Okay? Himsteak, my good friend, how are you? The class was amazing. Oh, thank you so much. Himsteak is another one of our veterans that was there for the whole time. I'm taking this as a good sign because we had a couple of people who were there for the entire class, all 3 hours. So kudos to you guys for hanging out with me. And if you're still, participating today, that's a good sign. So good to see you, Himsteak. Hope you're well. Manjit B, nice to see you. It's been a while, but I know you're a great supporter here. It's good to see you, my friend. Hey, Dennis, how have you been? Well, thank you for asking. I'm doing well. I'm trying to keep cool because it's so hot where I live, so I'm staying indoors. And if I'm going to stay indoors, I might as well do some streaming with you guys, right? So I'm going to be streaming every day for the next 100 days. That's going to take us through the beginning of the school year for most of you, in most parts of the world. But I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking. I'm staying positive and staying happy, trying to stay cool inside the air conditioning. All right. Binui Insta says, can somebody start data science from scratch and ask for your experience? How long would it take to scale up to full stack professional? Hey, and by the way, guys, I'm keeping an eye on the time here. It's possible that we're going to lose our Instagram folks in a little bit here. If you're on Instagram, feel free to switch over to YouTube and keep joining the conversation. Instagram does cut off after an hour, unfortunately. So maybe we're going to lose the feed here in a little bit. I'm still seeing that it's active, but it's going to cut off at any moment now. But yeah, but if you still want to continue the conversation, join us over on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube. That way you always get notifications of when I'm on. But unfortunately, Instagram, we are going to lose you here once the 1 hour mark hits. So I'm always cautious when people ask about the timing of how long it takes for data science. It's going to take what it's going to take, right? Everybody learns at a different pace. And again, the goal is not to get a data science job because it's the sexiest job of the 21st century. The goal is to become a professional working in the data science field, right? So I'm always cautious when people ask about the timing and, I've got 3 months. Can I learn it in 3 months? It's going to take what it's going to take. You have to invest the time in learning it yourself, right? I was thinking about this a couple of weeks back, and I've shared this before. I must have done like 50 EDA exercises on my own after my graduate studies before I was ready for an interview. I had this time period that I took to myself to dedicate myself to the craft of data science. And that was something that I did completely on my own. Nobody was paying me for it. I wasn't billing any clients. I didn't have any interviews lined up. I wasn't talking to recruiters, none of that. It's time that I took for myself to say, hey, I want to develop my craft, my skills as a data scientist. So is that the only way to do it? No, there's other ways to do it. But I would hope that all of you would take the time, whatever it's going to take, to dedicate yourself to the craft and to become a data scientist. Because if you do that, then you don't have to worry about cracking the interview. You'll pass the interviews because it'll come across, right? It'll come across in the way you carry yourself, the way you answer the questions, the way you explain your rationale, the vocabulary used, right? All those things will come if you're willing to dedicate the proper time that it takes for that, okay? Ayahu simply shares the flag of Spain with us. Ayahu, good to see you. Glad to see that you're joining us from Spain. Hope you're well there. Thesis in Tunes says, thanks. It's the fellow Rob Green fan. You couldn't read the name earlier. Okay. So the Rob Green fan is our friend Sophie. Do you have any thoughts on PhDs, former front-end developer here as well, transitioning to the industry data analysis? Yeah, I don't really have an opinion on the PhDs per se, because there was a time where everybody thought, oh, well, I'm going to start a data science team. I better go out and hire a bunch of PhDs. That time has probably passed, right? Having a PhD is definitely not a requirement for getting into data science anymore, like it might have been in the past. But I think you can make the transition. I think one of your bigger challenges is going to be just kind of showing the flexibility of thought, right? Because PhDs tend to have a very heavy academic background and a very heavy math background. And that's not always where you're going to be in terms of modern data science or in the interviews or things like that, right? So I would say that's kind of your biggest challenge, to be able to show that flexibility of thought, to say, hey, I can tackle this, okay? So, I think it's a positive job market for the PhDs, but you're going to be competing against people who don't necessarily have PhDs, because that's not really viewed as a requirement anymore. All right. Narendra Kumar says, I am new here, joining in here from Germany. I am a student in a university in Bachelor's in AI. Cool. Welcome. We get a few people from Germany, so glad to see you here. Navin Nish says, I am a new follower. Well, welcome, Navin. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. I try to do the same introductions on a consistent basis from stream to stream, because I average about 120 to 150 new followers on Instagram every day. So if I have, like, say, 4 days in between streams, well, that could be like a new 500 people easily in 4 days. So I try to, keep things inclusive for people that are new. Maybe this, I know I have people who regularly watch my streams, but I also have plenty of people who it's their new stream. So thanks so much for joining, Evan. Welcome. Hope you keep on coming back to the streams. Himstick says, wow, that's amazing. I can't wait to read it. Yeah, thanks so much. I appreciate everybody supporting my channel with my book. It's available on Amazon. And like I said, I'm doing a little bit of a soft launch with you guys. But yeah, thanks so much for the support there, Himstick. Is that book available in India to order? It is. It's available globally. It's available on Amazon. All versions are available globally. And like I said, I've tried to make the Kindle version affordable. But yes, you can also order the paperback version via all markets that Amazon serves. So if you can get an Amazon order, you should be able to get my book. I made it available globally. Regarding upskilling, I have a BS in CS. The domain I work in is cybersecurity. Do you recommend getting a master's in cybersecurity, getting cyber certs, or getting an MS in CS ML specialization? That's a good question, but I really can't answer that for you because that's really going to depend on your passions. What interests you the most? Because you can have a long career in each one of those industries, kind of like independent of one another, right? You could have a very long cybersecurity career and not touch data science at all. And same thing in reverse, right? So it really just kind of depends. So I really can't answer that for you. What does your passion tell you, right? You kind of have to decide that for yourself. But great question. But yeah, you kind of have to just decide that on your own. Okay. Okay, so let's go on to the next question here. Manjeet, hey Dennis, hope you're doing great. I am, thank you. I asked this yesterday too, but do you have any suggestions for a part-time job as an Indian student in companies of EU or USA? I do not. I assume you're talking about a remote job and part-time. I really wish that I was better educated on this topic, Manjeet, but I am not. Remote jobs on the whole are getting harder and harder to come by. And if you're looking for it as a student, and I assume you'd want something that's at least a little bit data oriented, I don't really have, ideas that kind of jump out at me right now. So I wish I could provide more guidance, but I'm really just not educated enough to be able to give you a good answer on that. So sorry about that. Sir, would you suggest doing bachelor's in computer science or data science? It depends. What calls to you more, right? Is there something about one of those fields that kind of interests you a little bit more than the others? So, yeah, I kind of have to leave that up to you on what you'd like to do. Okay? Yeah, it looks like you repeated the question there. But it just depends on your interests. It's really hard for me to answer those because, it's just about you and your passions. Okay? Duraj asks, what is the book called? So let me hold that up again. So the book is your first year in data science. Yeah, there we go. Your first year in data science. So you can search for that title, or you can search by my name, or you can search for DS with Dennis. It's available globally, and it's available now on Amazon. I finally figured out all the paperwork and stuff, and it became available this morning. I'll be doing more of a launch, but it's called Your First Year in Data Science. Or if you're on my Instagram, it looks like you are, you can go to the link section in Instagram, and I have a direct link going to Amazon, so you can buy the book there. Okay? KXRU Villa says, what certification do you recommend? So I really don't think that there's any advantage to any particular certification. Because people ask me this question. Should I go for AWS? Should I go for Azure? Should I go for Google? Look, the reality is that all of those companies have a large number of customers, right? People use Azure, people use AWS. So there's no inherent advantage to choosing one or the other. Just go ahead and choose one and make sure you finish it out and get the cert. But otherwise, there's really no advantage to one or the other. But what I will tell you is that realize that not everybody uses cloud, right? So make sure that you balance out your skills with some Linux skills, with some local admin skills, with some command line interface skills. You're going to need that because there's still companies out there that have their local data centers. They have no need for the cloud, right? So I don't recommend a particular certification. Just pick one and finish it out, and make sure you balance out with Linux skills, right? Because otherwise, if I'm a hiring manager and I see AWS, but I don't see Linux, and I have 10 data centers around the world, and so I don't use cloud, then I'm just going to go on to the next resume that does have Linux on there, right? Because that's the person I need. I need the person who can work with the command line interface, doesn't need a GUI, right? Doesn't need the beautiful Azure GUI. They can work on their own and, just kind of be able to come into my environment and work right away, right? So make sure you balance it out. That's what I tell people around certifications, okay? Deepak Chakravarthi says, well, hi, sir. Hope you're doing good. Thank you, Deepak. I appreciate you asking. I'm doing well, thank you. Just hosting a stream here. I'm going to be here for the next 100 days, trying to help as many people as I can. Just trying to share my experience and my passion with you guys. But thanks for coming in, Deepak. And by the way, guys, like I said, we might lose Instagram soon here, which is a shame. But if you are on Instagram, feel free to switch over to YouTube, so I can see all of your chats there, okay? Praveen says, hello, sir. Hello, Praveen. Thanks for joining us. Retnajet says, hi, Dennis. Hi, Retnajet. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming in. Abdul Rehman, is that the same question? No, I guess that's a different person. Abdul Rehman says, sir, what would you suggest at bachelor's level? Should we go for computer science or data science? Yeah, like I said earlier, I really can't answer that for you guys, It's really about what you're passionate about, what you find interesting, right? So I really can't answer that for you. I think what this tells me is that maybe you should take a little bit of time for reflection and kind of decide and say, yeah, this is what interests me, or no, I'm not really interested in this, right? Find your passion and what that's telling you to do, okay? Because otherwise, it's probably not the healthiest idea to ask a third party what you should be studying, right? Because you're going to be spending a lot of time and investing a lot of time in that, right? So take the time to think about it for yourself, okay? Oh, okay. Explore the Beauty of Nature says, my previous comment was a response to the question pertaining to the biggest challenge in DS. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate the clarification. And yeah, so remember remember, guys, in the chat, we had a question out for the chat. What is the biggest challenge in data science, right? Somebody else asked that, and I opened it up to the chat. So Explore the Beauty provided an answer. So I'm going to go back to your answer, my friend. I'm sorry that I missed it, or that I missed the context. Oh, I guess I can't see it because it's already past my scrolling. So sorry about that. Can you repost your answer? Sorry about that, my friend. Hey guys, could we try to avoid spamming the chat? Let's try to only ask the question one time, please. Okay, guys? I'm seeing a couple people that are repeating the question over and over. There's no need for that, guys. Let's keep things professional, okay? I'm going to try to get to people's questions, but it really kind of turns me off when I see people spamming the chat. So please don't do that, guys, okay? I might have to start doing more consistent moderators on both of Instagram and on YouTube. But it really kind of kills my enthusiasm for doing these live streams when I see people spamming the chat. So please don't do that, guys. All right, so Ratnajit says, any suggestions, takeaways for a fresh graduate in data science trying to get into Big Four's cracking interviews? We don't try to crack interviews. We try to be a data scientist, okay? That's the best advice I can give you. especially when you're talking about the big fours and crack. That's you're chasing the job. Don't do that. Chasing a job is only going to lead to you being burnt out by the time you're 30 years old, especially at a consulting firm. I mean, you're asking for a world of pain there, right? If that's what you're chasing, don't do that. Right? Take some advice from an old man that's been there before. Don't do that. You're gonna end up burnt out and unhappy. All right. Don't try to crack interviews. Try to be a data scientist if that's what your passion is. John Majay says, doing masters in AI after some work experience. Yeah, if you want, sure. You know, again, picking a master's is kind of like a personal decision. I took a long gap in between my undergraduate studies and my graduate studies, but that was me. That was what was right for me. It may or may not be right for you. I don't know. So yeah, so it's a good path overall because I think it kind of helps you understand what you want to do, right? It kind of helps you understand, like, maybe it helps you like narrow down your passions a little bit, right? But yeah, if that's what you want to do, I don't see any inherent problems with that plan. But yeah, I think there's a value in there to saying, hey, I want to be in the industry a little bit. I want to be more educated about my master's choices, because maybe you get into the field and you decide that data science is not for you. That's totally possible, guys, right? So yes, if you want to do that, get a couple of experience, a bit of experience under you, and then try it. Yeah, I'm on board with that. All right, guys. So I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. I'm sorry that I didn't get to all the questions. The chat on Instagram is kind of a little bit off now because there's, we're getting a little spam there. But I will be streaming every day for the next 100 days. So look forward to spending time with you tomorrow. If I didn't get to your question today, feel free to come back, please. I apologize for that. But as I said, two resources for you to walk away with. I'm doing my classes on Sundays, and those are live because I don't like doing pre-recorded content. I like doing the live stuff. So come back Sunday, or you can catch the replay on YouTube from yesterday's class. And then I'm seeing a lot of people who are looking to move from academics into the real world. That's exactly what's addressed in my book, Your First Year in Data Science. You can find it on Amazon. I have audio, paperback, and ebook available. So I appreciate your support, and give me some feedback on the book if you do get a chance to read it. But I appreciate you guys joining me today. I hope you guys stay cool in your part of the world. It's hot in most parts of the world. But thank you so much for spending the time with me. Stay safe, take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you next time, guys. Thanks a lot.